Good morning, everybody. Welcome into the Farzy Show. My name is Marc Farzy here at the Steven Sager Studios. We got a football Thursday for you today with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming to South Philadelphia for some Thursday night primetime football that I know we're just all giddy and excited for. So that'll be fun. We'll get into that conversation today. Jimmy Kempski from Philly Voice will be joining the show today. Look forward to that conversation. And Josh Miller of WinView to let you know you can win some big money on the WinView app. He'll join us later in the show as well. We got Ben Simmons showing up. We got Ben Simmons having conversations with coaches and front office members, and we got expectations by his teammates. We got all that and more coming up on today's show. Plus, Nick Sirianni addresses the media yesterday, and we'll get into a possible pizza party that was held at his house. That sounds like a good time. But most importantly, above all else, what did I promise you yesterday? I promised you a top 5 list. Now, I can't do top 10 because only one guy can pull off a top 10. That guy's name's David Letterman, and I'm not doing that because I ain't no David Letterman. However, we're going to go through the top 5 reasons right now that the Philadelphia Eagles will beat the Buccaneers, or in other words, top 5 reasons the Bucs will lose. Let's start it off with number 5. Here you go. Brady's old and can't recover in time for a Thursday night game. Brady's old and hurt. Can't recover in time. By the way, in case you don't know, these are totally legitimate, not at all sarcastic, totally having faith in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers losing and the Eagles winning with no sarcastic undertones. Number 4 on this list, they're on the road. How's that sound? Huh? They're on the road. No? Okay, all right. Number 3, you can win on any given Sunday. Oh, damn, it's Thursday. Thursday. On any given Thursday, you could win. No? Maybe? Possibly? No. Okay, anyway. All right, number 2 on the list. These are the only legit ones. Javon Hargrave and Fletcher Cox. We'll unpack that a little bit later. And number 1. The number 1 reason the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will lose tonight, Brady can't catch. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming on the show. The only way they can win this game is if their defensive line dominates their offensive line. And that's going to be damn near impossible. For 2 reasons. One, it's a very good offensive line that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have. And the other is Tom Brady gets rid of the football. Every single time Tom Brady plays a football game, the opposing coach is thinking, get after Tom Brady. The opposing fan base is thinking, well, they get pressure on Tom Brady. And then, you go through that entire time and you don't get pressure on Tom Brady. He's either getting rid of the ball fast, or his offensive line is so terrified to allow a sack on Tom Brady that they just don't allow any sacks. They just have that motivation to not be the team that actually allows the pressure to get to Tom Brady. So it doesn't happen, really. And in the 3 games Tom Brady has played at Lincoln Financial Field, every single one of them we've said they can just get pressure on Tom Brady. And no, they don't get pressure on Tom Brady. And then it doesn't happen. But they haven't had a guy like Javon Hargrave playing at this level right now. And they certainly haven't had Fletcher Cox, hitting his stride, if you will. And maybe that's what happened. Now, I don't believe that the Eagles are going to beat the Bucs, right? I told you yesterday I do an optimistic show. So this is what you have to hold on to and cling to if you're going to be optimistic. The other thing you have to hold on to and be optimistic was actually number 5 on our list, which is the whole Brady's old and can't recover in time thing for the Thursday night game on the road. Let's hope that's the case. But I remember this. Kurt Warner, when he had already won an MVP and had posted at the time the highest passer rating ever for a season and on, I remember he played a couple of seasons with the Giants where he was terrible. And the reason he was terrible was because he had a thumb injury. Now, it's in no way, shape, or form the same thumb injury I'm sure that Tom Brady has right now, but still, an older quarterback, can't grip a football, get a little pass rush on him, maybe make him force a couple of throws. Maybe you could force him into a couple of turnovers. And maybe the Eagles actually take advantage of those turnovers and turn them into points, which would be nice. But if you can't grip that football and you can't sling it, that's going to be some trouble. Let's not forget that Tom Brady also played the Super Bowl against Philadelphia Eagles and threw for about 1 billion yards with a hand that was glued together. People forget that. Tom Brady's hand was glued together. I seen it. He had a cut in his hand and he just glue. That's what he did. He was warming up with it the whole time. I can't remember if it was his throwing hand or his non-throwing hand, but bottom line is his hand was glued together and he played quarterback in the NFL. So you go into this game right now with a banged-up thumb, and who knows what it could mean, because Tom Brady's not human anyway. As we were explaining yesterday, you look at Tom Brady, you see a bot, basically, that just throws footballs and wins Super Bowls. That's what he does. Maybe the Eagles are in his head. Maybe he sees that jersey and shudders a little bit, but I highly, highly doubt that. Look, the main reason, not to go down this path again, because I told you I do a positive show, but to be real with you for a second here, the real reason that I don't think the Eagles stand a chance is because I don't see Jonathan Gannon. I don't see his defense, his secondary, holding up, even though they just had a 3-interception game against Sam Darnold. I don't see them holding up well against what Tom Brady and this wide receiving core can do, because they are an extremely versatile receiving group. When you think about the fact that Rob Gronkowski is probably not going to even play, they still got tight ends that can catch footballs for them and get open and do a pretty damn good job of doing that. When you think about just the wide receiving core right now, you think about a guy like Mike Evans, you think about Chris Godwin, you think about Antonio Brown. Then Antonio Brown could beat you with speed. Chris Godwin could beat you with precise route running. And Mike Evans will just stand over top of you and palm a football and look down on you and laugh. Like, that's what they're going up against tonight. So if you're Jonathan Gannon and you have Darius Slay, who does Slay want to go up against tonight? Antonio Brown? Chris Godwin? Probably not Mike Evans. Who do you line him up against? That's going to be a tough call tonight. I don't necessarily think you're going to have, because there's so many different threats, I don't necessarily think you're going to see one-on-one matchup with Darius Slay traveling with whoever the number one target is going to be on any given night when it comes to the way Tom Brady likes to distribute the football. The other thing is, you look at a guy like Ronald Jones, you look at a guy like Leonard Fournette, and these guys just know how to run the football. Jones, not so much. Leonard Fournette has certainly been coming on stronger as of late. I had a great game in New England when it was raining like hell up there. I actually put up, I think, 91 yards in that particular game. But if one thing's not working, if one receiver's not working, they can go to another one. If one running back's not working, they can go to another one. I mean, it's just a very versatile passing attack, very versatile offensive attack in general that you're going to be going up and facing. And the theory I was throwing out there yesterday, as far as maybe you could get away with running the football in this game because maybe you can control the clock. Maybe you can keep things closer to the line of scrimmage to make sure that you're controlling the game, right? And controlling the tempo. Well, the Buccaneers have the best run defense. I think they allow 45 rush yards per game. Now, you could say, and I said this yesterday, you could look at it and just say simply, well, of course, I mean, you're passing because you're playing from behind, so you're rarely running the football against them. Like, even the Dallas Cowboys didn't run for that many yards against them in the opening week of the season. You could say that, but to be dead last to actually put up the fewest rush yards in the league and then don't even have the number one offense in the league, that might be a little bit of a reach. But like I said, we're going optimistic today, folks. We're going optimistic. Coming up, we're going to have Jimmy Kempski talk to us about it. I'll give my prediction in a little bit regarding what's going to happen with this Eagles-Buccaneers game tonight. So we'll have some fun with that. But I also want to get into this. Ben Simmons coming into Philadelphia, unannounced, showing up. Surprise, I'm here. Is just as awkward as we all assumed it would be. Not with us as fans by any means, but more so, and 100% actually, with the team and how awkward that has to be. Now, there's a couple of things. One thing we're going to play for you is Danny Green talking about whether or not Ben Simmons should apologize or has to apologize, or the team needs to hear an apology from Ben Simmons. It's an interesting way he handled it. But one of the big stories that came out was during these meetings that they had during the Combine in August, which was the meeting that Doc Rivers addressed, that Doc Rivers acknowledged happened when he was on First Take some weeks ago. And he said the meeting, it was what it was, more or less. Well, apparently this time around, he was talking to Ben Simmons' agent, Rich Paul, and said he has to play. He has to show up. It's in his effing contract to play. Good for you, Doc. Good for you. That's all I have to say about that. As far as Ben Simmons showing up and it being just as awkward as we anticipated, here's Danny Green, courtesy of NBC Sports Philadelphia, when he was asked the question yesterday about whether or not Ben owes the team an apology.
If he does, he does. If he doesn't, he doesn't. That doesn't matter to us at this point. We just want everybody to come here, show up, and do their part, do their jobs. I'm not asking them to do anything different than he normally does, to show up to work and do what you normally do, because what he normally does, we're very effective. We're very good at it. We're number one team in the East. We're not asking them to shoot jump shots. So just come in, be a pro, do your job, and that's what we expect of them. And, if you apologize, it's cool, but you guys work with people every day. You don't expect an apology from some people not showing up because of family issues or sickness or whatever it may be. They come in and do their job.
All right, I'm not turning this into a family issue, not turning this into a sickness. Nobody's apologizing for that. Nobody needs to apologize for that. However, there's two things here. Number one, if somebody says, don't you think they owe you an apology? There's either one answer. There's one answer. No, he doesn't need me an apology. Or the awkward, well, I don't want to acknowledge that he owes us an apology, but if he does, he does. If he doesn't, whatever. No. It's either yes or no. He owes you an apology. If you go with that little middle ground thing, that guy definitely owes you an apology. If you don't say, oh, no, he doesn't owe us an apology. But if you say, oh, well, if he does, he does. If he doesn't, he does. Well, no. If he owes you an apology, then he needs to apologize. And I think Ben Simmons abso-freaking-lutely owes this team, this front office, this fan base an apology for turtling up and running. His intentions are out there. Whatever happens next is, hey, that's all business. But his intentions were out there. He hasn't dispelled anything. Apparently, he hasn't even addressed the team saying, guys, I know there's a lot of stuff out there. I'm sorry that it's out there. This isn't the way it is. This is the way it is. And Joe, I love playing with you, and I see us playing together forever. And Danny Green, I think you're great, and I love what you do and all that stuff. I'm going to come back, and I'm going to shoot, and I'm going to hit free throws. No, that part I don't think is going to happen. And that part I actually agree with Danny Green. In terms of Ben Simmons isn't going to show up, and then the whole team's just going to look at it and be like, hey, thanks for showing up. Now you better shoot. Even though I want that to happen. And I think the front office should say, yeah, you want us to trade you? Yeah, you better shoot. I don't think the team is going to say that. I don't think his teammates are going to say that by any means. But Ben should know that if he really wants out of Philadelphia, then he's going to have to do a little bit more to get out of Philadelphia, which is show the rest of the league that he can expand his game. Because the only way you're really going to get top dollar for him, and the only way the Sixers are going to trade him is if they can get top dollar for him, is if he shows he's expanded his game. Other than that, like, did you really think, like, last year, even without the offseason drama, did you think the Sixers were going to get Damian Lillard? Like, do you think the Portland Trailblazers would take Ben Simmons for Damian Lillard? Like, you got to put the draft picks in there. You got to put a player that's ready to go, like Tyrese Maxey or Matisse Thybulle. You got to throw that into the deal. And I know a lot of people don't want to do that, but if you're getting Dame Lillard, I kind of want to do that. So when you think about it like that, the only way you can really get this done and make sure you get top dollar for Ben Simmons and not for Ben Simmons, Matisse Thybulle, Tyrese Maxey, or Tyrese Maxey, not both, and a first-round pick or two. The only way you're going to get top dollar for Ben is if he shows that he expanded his game. So, no, I don't think Joel Embiid is going to come in and say, hey, cut the crap, you better shoot. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. But when it comes to the front office, I think they should say it. I think they need to say it. And if you're Ben Simmons, how do you not know that's the only way you can get out of here? Because the narrative of Ben can't shoot, I hate. The narrative that's more important because it's more accurate and more just mind-numbing is that he won't shoot. That is the bigger issue. The physical detriment of him actually shooting is like look at, again, Giannis is the guy we always throw out there, and it's the perfect match because he didn't give a damn. He'll keep shooting. I'll get the next one. We played the cuts for you during the NBA playoffs of him talking about how, yeah, I'll miss, but then I'll go out and I'll get the next two, or I'll miss the next three, and then I'll get, guess what? I'll get the big one to end the game. Like, that type of mindset is what you want in every NBA player, especially one that's making $170 million and still got 4 years left on his damn contract. The problem with me with Ben is that he can't, because I know he can. I've seen him do it. We've seen it. The problem with Ben is that he won't. That's the bigger issue. So, Ben, come in here with a better mindset, and maybe you'll actually get traded. Hey, fix your trade value, Ben, and we can move on from there. Before we hear from our friend Jimmy Kempski, I do want to let you guys hear this. It really does leave no stone unturned, Philadelphia media. And friend of the show, Reuben Frank, was part of the press conference yesterday with Nick Sirianni. If you remember, Nick Sirianni said the other day that he had the coaches over his house. They got back from Carolina. They went over to his house, sat down. They watched the Monday Night Football game, I believe it was, and they just kind of hung out. And they went over what they wanted to do against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So Rube leaves no stone left unturned. What was the atmosphere like? Was it a pizza party? And these are the questions we have to know the answers to, folks. Here's Nick Sirianni and Ruben Frank.
Hey, Nick, following up on that, how many guys were over at the house? Did you have pizza? How late did you go? And what was kind of the mood of that? Is it like more lighthearted than when you're in the office, but you still get as much done? How did it go?
Yeah, they set us up pretty good at our homes. They really do. Like, the video guys, our video department, led by Pat Dolan, he has us all set up at the house. So we had everything we needed there. I didn't get any pizzas. I had some. I think the kids. I think Shane might have had some Cheez-Its that were left over for my son's lunch. But and after you win, you feel good. You're talking through it. We had the Chiefs-Bills game on in the background at my house, and so it was lighter, but it was just it was everything was the same in the sense that it was just going through the process that we normally go through. And it was a couple hours. But you know what, Rube, that's a good idea on you, and I'm going to put that on our schedule to make sure next time we have the pizzas ready.
I need a world where there's a camera and there's the NFL coaches with a pizza party. First off, I need that world. Second, something about me here. I look at plain pizza as a wasted opportunity. I don't eat plain pizza. My baseline is pepperoni. That's it. If you're not starting out with a pepperoni pizza, then it ain't pizza as far as I'm concerned. I like my pizza. I think in the words of Mitch Hedberg, if I could just bastardize these words for a second, I look at a plain cheese pizza as a plate for more toppings. That's pretty much what I look at it. That's how I look at it. But hey, look, you're coming off a win, so you're going to be a little bit more relaxed. I think in a short week for a first-time head coach, first-time play caller, first-time defensive coordinator, first-time offensive coordinator, I think a relaxing atmosphere with a football game on in the background can actually help. And let's face it, folks, it's the Bucs. Not that you want your team going into it with the attitude of, well, what the hell are we going to do anyway because it's the Bucs. So what the hell? Let's just hang out here, have some Cheez-Its, have a drink or two, watch a game, have ourselves a good time. I don't think that's necessarily the attitude that they had going into this, but if they could have a more relaxed atmosphere and try to approach this where they're not all tight because we know how tightly wound Nick Sirianni can be, then I'd rather have them in that relaxed environment. And maybe we get a better game plan out of it. Maybe we got to get a better game plan out of it. Let's cross our fingers. Again, this is an optimistic show, folks. So optimistic that I'm going to tell you about my good friend Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers, because we love talking about Steven Singer here at the Steven Singer Studios. I'll tell you, the competition must really hate this guy. He is not focusing on sales, on coupons, or discounts. Steven is in the love business. And to celebrate love with this guy is just phenomenal. With his staff, it's phenomenal. They help you through everything. Steven's always said for the last 40-plus years that he's in the love business, and that's exactly what he is. To celebrate love with his guests, that means he's giving you the best price every single day. Steven, he gives you the first offer as the perfect price every single time. That we don't have to worry about negotiating or haggling. Oh, is this marked up? Am I paying too much? No, you're paying exactly the perfect price every single time. You ever wonder if you're getting the best price? You're uncomfortable with negotiating? Here's a little insider tip. Most jewelers mark their merchandise way up just to mark it down in front of you to make you feel like you're getting some kind of deal, make you feel like you won something. The guy, you know what, is he next to me? Is he paying more? Is he paying less? What's he doing? Am I negotiating right? Don't have to worry about that. When you make the purchase at Steven Singer Jewelers, it's the perfect price. Steven doesn't want to play those pricing games. You can trust Steven Singer Jewelers for the best value every single day. He stands behind that value with the best guaranteed in the business. No risk shopping. It's the best guarantee. That's why I trust Steven Singer, and you should too. Buy real jewelry from a real jeweler. Visit Steven Singer Jewelers at the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right in Philadelphia, or online at IHateStevenSinger.com. Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price. IHateStevenSinger.com. Without further ado, let's jump on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line right now and talk to our good friend from PhillyVoice.com, Mr. Jimmy Kempski. And joining us right now on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line, a man who's a fashion nova, really, when you think about it, a fashionista, if you will, in the Philadelphia media scene. Jimmy Kempski from Philly Voice, always a man in a fine hoodie as well, sport coat, blazer, asking the tough questions. You do it all, Jimmy. How are you?
Me and my daughter there in my Twitter profile there. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, but when you click on your stories at Philly Voice, like for instance, all you guys gave predictions of what could happen against the Bucs on Thursday. You got the nice hoodie on, which I always appreciate.
Yeah, they took. I didn't know when I went to. We had to go to the office. I go to the office like twice a year, and the one day I went there like 7 years ago. They were taking pictures for our profiles. I had no idea. I just happened to be wearing a hoodie that day, and I'm like, well, I guess this is what I'm wearing. And they were like, snap, and that's been up since then. I also weighed like 230 pounds at the time, so like I look a little chunky in that picture, and I feel it's not an accurate representation of what I look like right now.
I would describe you as svelte nowadays, my friend, as svelte. But I can relate. I didn't even know they were going to put a billboard in this post-game show I'm doing with Derek Gunn and Devin Caney and John McBall. I didn't even know they were going to do that.
I saw that actually on my way to the airport. It was like right by the stadium.
Yeah, my big fat head. Yeah, right. And speaking of like your story, I took that picture at WIP like 5 years ago. And at the time, it literally was, hey, we're doing pictures today. And I had a hoodie on and the whole thing. I went to work with I have a black button down that's kind of clean. There you go. And that was that.
That's
anyway.
Funny.
So Jimmy, I started the show today with a little list, a top 5 in honor of my good, the guy I admire, David Letterman. And number 1 on the list, for the number 1 reason that the Eagles will actually beat the Buccaneers on Sunday, was any given Sunday. So that's how good the list is. It's pretty terrible. Yeah. What can you give me a reason if the Eagles are going to beat the Bucs? What has to happen in that game other than the obligatory they score more points?
So they're banged up, the Buccaneers. They're down 2 starting corners, that is, in Carlton Davis and Sean Murphy Bunting. They're down Levante David, who's a starting linebacker. They're down Antoine Winfield Jr., starting safety. Tom Brady injured his hand in their Week 5 game against the Dolphins last week. Rob Gronkowski isn't playing. So they got a bunch of injuries. I mean, so do the Eagles, and that's nothing new for the Eagles. But, they do have a lot of guys, especially on that defense, that, aren't going to play. So that's helpful. I don't know that the Eagles defense is going to have a lot of success stopping that Buccaneers offense, as we saw against the Cowboys Week 4, and then the Cowboys Week 3 and the Chiefs Week 4. I mean, they kept those teams from hitting big plays against them, but they played sort of that soft shell zone defense, and both teams just killed them underneath all day, gave up 11 touchdowns on 18 possessions. And in my opinion, this Bucs offense is every bit as good as those Cowboys and Chiefs offenses that the Eagles already saw. I mean, you're talking about the best player in the history of the NFL at quarterback for them. They have, in my opinion, the best wide receiver trio in the NFL in Mike Evans, in Chris Godwin, and in Antonio Brown. And also, I think that those 3 guys have 3 different skill sets that actually mesh really well together. And their offensive line is really good. So, I don't know that I like their chances so much, but if they are going to win this game, it's going to be because they have to score a lot of points, which they did against the Chiefs in Week 5. But I don't think that this Buccaneers defense is as bad as that Chiefs defense, despite all the guys that they're missing.
Right. And plus, like I said, number 1, any given Sunday. So there you go. On top of that, you talk about all the things defensively speaking, and the defensive line will definitely have to be great in this game. Sure. The offense will have to score points and all that. But is there any chance, because the Eagles didn't do this against the Cowboys and they certainly didn't do this against the Chiefs, but is there any chance, Jimmy, that they actually run the football a little bit more than normal just to try to control the clock and, again, try to put the ball in the hands of a playmaker like Miles Sanders?
So this is a Todd Bowles defense, and what Todd Bowles wants to do first and foremost before everything else is stop the run. and that Buccaneers defense really does a good job at stopping the run. So if there is a time that the Eagles shouldn't run the ball, it's in this game. So they probably will. This will be the game that they pick to run the ball. But no, seriously, like I like they should be running the ball certainly more than they are.
Right.
And I am the furthest thing in the world from like a run the ball.
Yeah, run
like,
the pass ratio. What the hell? Yeah.
That's not me in any way. But it's weird that anytime that they've just lined up and like just run the ball at the opposing defense, they've had a lot of success. Like they've had a lot of these run plays on the, like the RPOs, where, they're not just trying to, move defensive linemen against their will off the line of scrimmage. When they've done that, they've had success. But these RPOs, of course, the run pass option, those runs aren't like as, straightforward physical kinds of runs. And they haven't had as much success with those as they had when they've just tried to overpower defensive lines off the ball. And I don't think this is the game where they, are going to start doing that. If they were going to do that, they were going to do that against, run deficient teams like the Cowboys or the Chiefs. And they didn't. And so I don't know. I don't know that we'll see that in week 6 here Thursday night against the Buccaneers. Maybe thereafter. But this is the wrong opponent to finally start to establish the run.
Damn it. The defensive line, what I'm really hoping for in the most optimistic sense, and don't get me wrong, I'm not by any means betting on the Eagles to win this game, but if they are going to win, I also think you got to look at that defensive line. Is there a chance now Fletcher Cox is hitting a stride here? Is this just the tip of the iceberg as far as him getting it going, getting his first sack against Carolina? Any chance that was just the start of another great season for Fletcher Cox?
Yeah, it was his best game of the year so far, obviously, in Carolina this past Sunday. Javon Hargrave, like for my money, is the best player on the team right now. And if the season ended today, he's a first team All Pro right now. Like he and Aaron Donald are the top 2 defensive tackles in the NFL right now. Like he's been ridiculously good, but he hasn't gotten help from the other guys on the line. Fletcher Cox is having his worst season in his career, in my opinion. And then, they haven't gotten much out of Derek Barnett. He woke up a little bit in the Carolina game. Josh Sweat has, a few sacks. I think, optimistically, he might have a little bit more production than he does right now. But they've gotten almost nothing out of Ryan Kerrigan. So a lot of these guys haven't stepped up yet. Like they did a little bit against the Panthers. Panthers have arguably like a bottom 5 offensive line, and they're going to be facing a much better offensive line in this Tampa Bay Bucs line. But what the Tampa Bay Bucs do really well, particularly on the interior of their offensive line, is they're really good run blockers with Ryan Jensen and Ali Marpet and Alex Kappa at right guard. Like those guys are really good run blockers. They're not as good in pass protection. And when you look at a quarterback like Tom Brady, like, he's not going to beat many people in a foot race. Like I think I could actually like give him a run he'd probably beat me in a foot race, but like I could come close at least maybe.
Yeah.
But what he does really well is he moves around in the pocket. Like he makes really subtle, good moves in the pocket. He feels pressure. He moves away from it. He knows what he's doing in the pocket. That negates the edge rush to some degree because he can feel that coming. But when you have the 2 guys like Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave who can get pressure right up the middle, those are the types of guys that can affect Tom Brady, move him off his spot where he feels comfortable, and then you can maybe force him into, the rare mistakes. The guy makes like almost no mistakes whatsoever, but if you can get him out of his comfort level, you do so right up the middle. And I think that's where the strength of this Eagles team, really, the strength of this Eagles defense and their team are those 2 guys, Fletcher Cox, in theory, Fletcher Cox, and of course, Javon Hargrave, who's, completely balling out right now.
You mentioned Todd Bowles versus the run. What about Todd Bowles versus, like you saw him in the Super Bowl against Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah.
And I've been going back to look at that game, and I'm only having nightmares about what he could do now to Jalen Hurts. How do you think that matchup goes on Thursday night?
Yeah, they really took advantage of a Chiefs offensive line that had a lot of injuries in that Super Bowl. And I mean, we're looking at an Eagles offensive line that is missing Lane Johnson because of the personal matter. They're missing, Jordan Mailata is moving from left tackle to right tackle. You have Isaac Seumalo out. You have Brandon Brooks out. So it's a makeshift offensive line. As we know, they always have offensive line issues, it seems. So they have a lot of guys just sort of filling in. They got away with it to some degree over the last 3 games because they haven't faced strong pass rush. Actually, against the Panthers last week, Like I thought that Brian Burns and Hassan Reddick were like the best test that they've had so far this year on the edge. And Jordan Mailata gave up those 2 sacks on 2 consecutive plays during that one series. But, going forward, you look at this Buccaneers defensive line, and they have those 2 big guys in the middle in Vita Vea. I always screw up.
Yeah, I get it.
and Ndamukong Suh.
Right. I heard of him.
And then on the edge, you have, JPP, who has averaged, over 10 sacks per season in his 3 years in Tampa Bay. You have a first-round rookie in Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, and you have Shaq Barrett, who, led the NFL in sacks in 2019, 19 and a half. He had 8 last year. He had 4 in the playoffs last year. So they can get after the quarterback for sure. So it's not just that this Todd Bowles defense, just stops the run and that's all they do. Like they get after the passer. But again, like they do have these 2 cornerbacks that are out. They have a safety that's out. They have a linebacker that's out. So if they don't get to the quarterback, they're not able to generate pressure, then I think the Eagles can maybe do something against them in the passing game because they have so many reserves that'll be filling in starting on their back 7.
I know it's going to be hard, but if you're just drawing it up to say this is how the Eagles are going to have success, how do you think they have success offensively speaking in this game?
Yeah, well, I mean, they're going to have to get production out of their receivers. Quez Watkins has made the occasional big play. They're going to need another big play out of him, I think, in this game. I think they haven't targeted Quez and Devontae Smith enough, in my opinion, in these first 5 games. And I really think they're actually going to miss Dallas Goedert. Like this was a game that Dallas Goedert could have, really capitalized on the absence of Winfield and Levante David. Those 2 guys probably would have been matched up against him. So this is a game where Zach Ertz really has to step up and be the guy that, he was 3-4 years ago. I think that, Jalen Hurts and Zach Ertz have, had opportunities to make plays. There have been some times where Jalen Hurts has missed like an open Zach Ertz, like he missed a wide open Zach Ertz against the Chiefs in the end zone. There's another time he threw a perfect pass to him against the Chiefs.
That's Zach Ertz right now saying, "Hey man, that was like, all on the quarterback."
That's like my 8th spam call today alone.
Real? So, I've had a bunch too. How's your extended warranty?
Oh, the worst. So they've had they've had their opportunities to make plays, and for whatever reason, they just haven't made them. In this game, they can't squander those opportunities. It has to be Zach Ertz, and it has to be, I'm like, forget Jalen Reagor at this point, but it's got to be Ertz, it's got to be Devontae Smith, and it's got to be Quez Watkins that make plays in the passing game.
No, I would agree with that. What do you know about Zach Ertz? The Eagles still shopping him around? What's going on there?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's been on the trade block for we're coming up on like the 1-year anniversary. Like I think it was around this time last year where he was unhappy with his contract and they were willing to move him around this time, and then he got hurt and he went on injured reserve, and at that point they couldn't trade him anymore because nobody wanted him. And then in the offseason they had offers for him. They just didn't have offers that they liked enough for him. And I think at some point during this season, like those rumors are going to pop back up. And if they, don't look like they're going to be contenders, and in my view, like I think the Cowboys are ultimately going to pretty easily run away with the NFC East this year. So if at some point it looks like they're not going to be contenders for the division or for the playoffs or whatever, then I think it'd be crazy not to move them because you're going to lose them in free agency next year anyway. So you can save some money. You can save about half of his salary this year if you move him at the trade deadline, and you get something for him when he's just going to probably move on next year anyway.
Last thing for you, Jimmy. 5 games in, the Nick Sirianni era. What are you making of him so far?
Week 1, I thought he had a really good game plan where like he really, played to Jalen Hurts' strengths. And I thought there was a really, good start for him in that game. Since I think his game plans, put it kindly, kind of sucked.
No. I'll suck big time. I'll add to that. Suck big time.
Like in this past game against Carolina, I mean, they played badly. I mean, let's just be honest about what they looked like for the first 40 minutes of that game. And he just kept screen. And then it was like, okay, well, we've thrown so many screens that at this point they're going to be like, the defense is going to be like, there's no way they keep throwing screens because so let's just screen some more. And then at that point, like they were like, well, now they're really not going to expect
no way.
More. And then at some point it was like, you know what? we know they're not going. We know these screens aren't going to work anymore. But you know what? You're not the boss of me. I'm throwing 5 more screens. So like, I don't know what he's like, the in-game adjustments, the game plan to go in the first place. Like, I haven't really liked any. The one thing I will say for him is, they look dead in the water at some points during that game against the Panthers. They never stopped fighting, and they eventually, the tide kind of turned and they played hard the entire game. So I think he at least has his players playing hard for him. But in terms of, his scheme and his game plans, we need to see a lot more. We need to see better game plans and better in-game management. I've been a little disappointed by like the 4th down decisions. Like we all remember, like Big Balls Doug was he'd go for everything. And we've kind of seen like the opposite of that this year. So he's got, like, I think we talk about like Jalen Hurts having like this, 1-year tryout to be like the face of the franchise in 2022 and beyond. But I think you can probably say the same thing for Nick Sirianni the rest of the way.
Well, like potentially a one and done.
Yeah. I mean, if like we kind of see what we've seen over these first 5 games, like if we don't see improvement over the rest of the year, and there's plenty of time, like we're 5 down and we're 12 to go, he's a rookie head coach. I don't want to, make too much of like a slow start for him, but I mean, if we don't see improvement, then what are we doing? Like if there's a better candidate available next offseason, then I don't think it's out of the realm of. I mean, Doug almost was only one and done after his first season in 2016, so I don't think it's crazy to think that Nick Sirianni could be one and done. But we're a long way away from that. Right.
Hopefully that doesn't happen, because God, I'd hate to go through another coaching search like that. Imagine that guy's next press conference.
You and me both, my friend.
Jimmy Kempski, Philly Voice. Make sure you guys check out all his stuff. He's got great stuff on there with Philly Voice and phillyvoice.com. Also, podcast available, Talking Eagles, I believe, with Brandon Lee Gowton as well, as part of Bleeding Green Nation. You do great stuff, Jimmy. Big fan of yours, as you know, my friend. And I know one thing, that the Philly Voice profile picture, that guy ain't beating Tom Brady in a race. That guy right there, he's beating Tom Brady in a race.
That's right.
Jimmy Kempski joining us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line.
Thanks, buddy.
My thanks once again to Jimmy Kempski joining us there on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. Here's what I will say about running the football. The Bucs are a hilarious team. And here's why I say that. They are the classic blow the crap out of people type of team. There's blow them out of the water with a phenomenal passing attack, and then that team has to keep up. The Buccaneers are a perfect north and south team. North in running the football, in allowing just under 46 yards per game in running the football. South in that they're dead last in passing defense in the NFL. So what does that mean? It does mean that, in theory, teams are not running the ball for the classic football theory. If you don't run the ball because you're trying to catch up, so you're pass, which goes right into the Eagles' game plan, which is cool because they won't run the football. However, they are first in the league in run defense because no one's running on them anyway, and they're last in the league in pass defense because everyone has to pass to keep up with them. By the way, the Buffalo Bills, who are the highest scoring team in the NFL, guess what? They're also like 4th in the league in terms of rush yards allowed. You know why? Because nobody's running against them. You know why? Because they're poop canning them, basically. Yeah, I said poop cannon. 34.4 points per game, I think the Bills are at right now. And the Bucs are up there as well. So, yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty good at that. Once again, thanks to Jimmy Kempski for joining the show on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. Speaking of Rothman Orthopaedics, let me tell you about those great people. Phenomenal people, actually. When you have an orthopedic issue, you need a physician who eats, sleeps, and breathes orthopedics. You need an exceptionally specialized Rothman Orthopaedics physician. They not only specialize in orthopedics, but each of their physicians only focuses on one area of the body, which means you can have the confidence to get past the pain and be what you were. Visit them at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com. Rothman Orthopaedics, the official orthopedic partner of your Phillies, Eagles, and Sixers. How about BetQL? You want the advantage over your sports book? You want to download the BetQL app right now. The only app you'll need to make smart bets. The Best Bets computer model they use scans over 350,000 unique bets per year to give you the best bet recommendation for every game across all major sports. And they give you the reasoning behind why you should place that bet. Their model covers everything from point spreads, over-unders, and player props as well. If you don't want to use their model and prefer to do your own research, BetQL has all the necessary tools for your betting research needs. Everything from sharp data, line movement, team summaries, lineups, injuries, breaking news, and they even have a leaderboard so you could track your success. Head to the App Store or Google Play Store right now to download the BetQL app. How about our friends at Steak and Maine? It's steakandmaine.com in the heart of Northeast Maryland. Whether you like to dine in their more upscale steakhouse, their casual bar and patio, you'll enjoy the highest quality of prime meats, fresh seafood, world-class oyster bar, and freshly prepared sushi. All that and an extensive wine list, including their own Cavada Cellars wines. Open every day for lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch. So do what I do. Stop by Steak and Maine in Northeast Maryland. Voted #1 place for steaks in America by the Travel Channel and the Cooking Channel. My man Anthony Cavada hooks it up. This place is amazing. You even buy a fine cigar. What do they call it? Fat Tommy? Leave a Fat Tommy cigar. It's a golf course cigar, basically. It's going to last you all day, the Fat Tommy. Check it out for yourself at Steak and Maine, steakandmaine.com for more information. How about the great people of WinView? Like I said, Josh Miller, marketing director, promotions director for WinView, is going to join us a little bit later on the show. Tell you I could use this app going forward. The predictions you can get in on, the game tonight you can get in on, all that on WinView. The only gaming app where you can get fans taking on other fans. They end the debate once and for all. Who's the biggest sports fan in your circle of friends with the WinView app? You have those friends that think they know everything. You have those family members that think they're better than you. Guess what? Not with the WinView app. You can ask them to talk the talk. Yeah, they already talk the talk. See if they can walk the walk. If you want to break up the monotony of family dinners and get-togethers, play during a quarter of Thursday Night Football and have yourself a good time in the WinView app. While you're tracking the games on Sunday, you could use WinView. If you're having a little fantasy football game that I've talked about before where you're getting blown out or you're blowing somebody else out, you can have a little extra skin in the game with a WinView challenge. Have yourself fun. It's not a sports book. It's not daily fantasy. It's just a way to have you and your circle of friends put their money where their mouth is with the WinView app. Download the WinView app right now and have yourself a good time. Make sure you're following everything in Philadelphia sports when it comes to PHL Sports Nation. That's Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience at phlsportsnation.com. Follow it all throughout the Philadelphia sports scene. Let's get to our morning rush, or excuse me, our social media check-in, brought to you by Steak and Maine at steakandmaine.com. I see some people commenting on my cough. Yes, it's still very much there. I feel like it's getting better. I forgot the whole humidifier thing. Now, Lil Toots, like I said, she's going to the school now. She's going to school and all that jazz. And she's getting like sick and stuff. So that sucks. But we worked in the humidifier. And let me tell you, when I was a kid, and like my brother, I have an older brother, like if we were sick, my mom would be like, I think you need the humidifier. I don't know. My mom doesn't sound like that. My mom, let me get you the humidifier. My mom's a sweet lady. Eleanor's a darling. Let me get you the humidifier. And then my mom or dad would go down to the basement and they'd come up with this big plastic block. And it was like a lawnmower motor on top of it. And they'd plug it in and you'd flick this little switch and it'd go, and that was our humidifier. And it was like, okay, go to sleep. That was like, okay, good night. And like, we'd wake up and we'd feel better. Whatever the hell that thing was, it was working. It was that, and I remember Vicks. We were a big Vicks family, raised on Vicks. If you're sick, I'll have some Vicks. Not have it, like eat it. I know back in the day, my older relatives were like, oh yeah, we had to take like a little dab of it on our finger and eat it. And I'm like, isn't that stuff toxic? No? All right, whatever. You do you, that generation. But yeah, the Vicks was a big thing. Like we put the Vicks on a handkerchief and tie it around our neck. And we'd be breathing that in all night. You're supposed to like rub it on your chest. I always thought that was weird. But anyway, tying it around your neck so much better. Yeah, you do that and you'd have the humidifier. I mean, that's how we never got sick as kids, I guess. Well, not for long. Anyway, let's check in with the rest of the people here. See how everybody else is doing here. But that's what I got going on, trying to use the humidifier. So there you go. Good morning, Dak. What's happening? Mark and the Funky Bunch. What's happening, Dak? That's very nice. April, good morning to you. Kevin, good morning, Farzy, and everyone. Happy Football Thursday. Happy Football Thursday to you, Kevin. April liked number 3. What was number 3? I don't remember. I blacked out. What was number 3 on my list here? Oh, you can win on any given Sunday. Oh, damn, it's Thursday. Thursday, you can win on any given Thursday. That's when you could win. Thank you. Number 4, if the temperature is below 35 degrees. That's true. It's not going to be. It's going to be like tropical on Thursday. Guapo. One Guapo? Is that a reference? Could that be possibly a reference to one of my favorite all-time movies, Three Amigos? El Guapo. What's up, Guapo? Got the bright shirt on today, Mally says. Good morning, Mally. A little happy. Oh, yeah, PJ came through with the happy weed this morning. Have you guys made this, like, fan fiction narrative that, like, PJ's my supplier? April, come on. Who wasn't putting glue on a cut? That's true. Good point. Dante. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Game Day peeps. What's up there, Dante? It's T-Bro. T-Bro, what's happening, buddy? What's happening, Farzy and Chad? Go Birds. Let's go Birds. Let's see. I'm like the equalizer. I put honey on mine. I'm sorry. What, Mally? What did we break off and start talking about there? Worst surprise ever. Does it come with the return receipt? What's up, April again? Dak, Embiid needs to embarrass Ben every day in practice like Jordan and Kobe did to push teammates. If you're Doc Rivers, you know what I'd love to say? I'd love for Doc just to say, like, open scrimmage and put like Joel Embiid, Danny Green, Tobias Harris, Matisse Thybulle, Tyrese Maxey, put them on one team and then put Ben on the team with all, like, the third stringers and say, have at it, boys. That's kind of what I'd like to see happen. Henry, Ben is so weak. Ben is weak. How to speak Australian, baby. Like, that's Ben Simmons right there. I can't see Nick. Mike, I don't get it. Oh, Nick Sirianni. Hold on, I'll get it for you one more time. I'll show it right quick for the people that don't get it. Nick Sirianni.
Hey, Nick, following up on that, how many guys were over at the house?
Here you go. I don't even know if that was camo, if that was like one of them. It wasn't acid wash, was it? It was like cool. Cool. If you're one of them kids in school, like that was a fad where like part of the sweatshirt was worn out for a while. I don't know. Remember the 90s? They were fun. What with that camo, no doubt. Dante laughed my ass off. Sean, what's happening? Sean, he's enjoying the convo. Plain pizza is for kids. Plain pizza is for kids. You know what I did yesterday? This is the only time I do this. But I had a nice like frozen pizza. We got a big Costco order in. My wife and her whole family, big Costco people. And if you've heard me talk about this, every time they talk about Costco, they act like they just pulled off a magic trick. It's like, oh, this pizza's good. It's frozen pizza. It's good. Where'd you get? Costco. Drives me nuts. Anyway, Farzy likes veggie pizza, no cheese prop. Are you serious? You think I got this fat face by eating veggie pizza? Anyway, but I had a nice frozen pizza, and this is what I do with frozen pizza. I put Bumba sauce on it. B-U-M-B-A, Bumba sauce. If you don't know what Bumba sauce is, it's life-changing. If you like a little bit of spice, it is phenomenal. All right? It's an Italian condiment, basically, that is just phenomenal. Bumba sauce. Whenever I have a frozen pizza, I always make sure I have Bumba sauce. It's the perfect complement to a frozen pizza. Enjoy yourself. What about tomato pie? Tomato pie is tomato pie. I know some people just call it pizza flat out. I don't call it pizza. I call it tomato pie. All right? And you get a nice Locatelli, Parmesan, Reggiano, Pecorino Romano over top of that. I love it. Little calabrese pepper over top. All right, we're having ourselves a good time. Corpolese is the best tomato pie for real. Corpolese is a fine tomato pie. I grew up on a place called Altamonte's. Altamonte's has phenomenal tomato pie. I grew up on that every Super Bowl Sunday. Kill one of those pizzas. I just did it. One of those tomato pies. Don't undersell it, Marc. Great billboard. Perfect looking fat. The billboard is funny. And here's how it happened. You would think, and I'm fine with this. I'm happy to be on it. But when I got the call that I was going to do the show and we were getting, I agreed to do the show because Gunner's one of my like good friends. Like I love Derek Gunn. And then I got to know Devin Caney, and Devin's awesome. This is the live post game show we like to do. You can catch it every post game for the Eagles, obviously. And I got the call, and it was like, "Hey, we're getting a billboard, and it's going to be great." And I was like, "Okay." And I was just about to ask if I could send a picture along, and they're like, "Here's the rendering of the billboard," and it was that picture. Can we see this? Is that the lights are crazy? Look at my big fat head. Hold on. I think when Devin was on, I described it as I look like somebody from NFL Europe. Yeah, there we go. Well, Gunner looks like the wily coach But anyway, that was a picture I took probably more like 5 years ago in a rush. And that was like before I shaved my head. That's more when I just buzzed my head. So whatever. You just think, hey, we're putting on a billboard. What picture do you want? No, it just happened. And I'm like, okay, there's my big fat. Either way, I got a big fat head. So there's nothing like I don't have a better picture than that. Like this is what you get, folks. Anyway, it's pretty cool that I'm up there anyway. I don't really care. Anyway, it's nice to tell mom. Anyway, James, run the ball, Nick. I don't disagree, James. Mally, hello again. Dan, does that include Jalen, Mally? I'm going to say under. Either way. I don't know what's happening there. Sushi. What's up, Sushi? Bucks 31, Eagles 5. Okay. Thomas, there's something about JPP I just can't put my finger on. I see what you did there, Thomas. Very nice. Excuse me. Jack's checking in, just laughing. Oh, T-Bro, Costco pot pie. I got one in my fridge right now. Don't even come at me, bro. Oh, my God. The Costco pot pie is this is how it went down in my house. All right, I'll tell you. It's a little inside story. My wife says to me, she's doing this. She's on her phone. Hey, babe, you want anything from Costco? And I'm like, I think I'm good. Just get some of those street tacos. And then she's like, oh, my God. It was an oh, my God. Oh, my God. What? What, babe? The pot pie is back at Costco. And I was like, order 7. It is phenomenal. It's horribly bad for you. Ridiculously bad for you. But it is amazing. I like to cook it a little extra longer there. And it get a little crispy. Yeah, that's how I like to do it. Wait, hold on. T-Bro, you worked at Altamonte's? Seriously? I grew up on Altamonte's. Like, I grew up. It's an Italian market. I grew up on the one in Warminster, and then much later they opened one in Doylestown. And now they got, like, a huge Altamonte's in Doylestown on 611. And I was actually, it's too funny. I was just texting with the owner, a friend of the family, Vince, and we were just BSing. And, but anyway, it's on 611 in Doylestown, and it's like a mecca for Italian food. You could get meals there. They got touch screens. You can order food, and then you just go buy all the food in the world. It's just fantastic. I love that place. Never tried Altamonte's. Dan, forget about it. It's just it's a great place. No doubt about it. Marc looks like that walk-on player that didn't make it on that billboard. MBD, Costco prime steaks are where it's at. They're in blue trays. Okay, I'll have one. Thanks for everyone that checked in. Our social media check-in brought to you by the great people of Steak and Maine and steakandmaine.com. Let's jump into our Morning Rush segment. Morning Rush segment, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to have to just hit you with this real quick. Here's the Morning Rush segment. It couldn't be more awkward with Ben Simmons, as I said earlier. Also, Flyers are going to get things underway tomorrow. I wish we could get into that a little bit more, but it is a football Thursday. And I'll say this optimistically speaking. If there was ever a time that you were going to host Tom Brady or play Tom Brady in the Bucs, it'd be on a short week where they have to travel and Tom Brady has a banged up thumb. That's it. If you're looking for optimism in this show, there's your optimism right there. And it would also be a time where your best player, and I agree with Jimmy Kempski, and I think this is now widely accepted, Javon Hargrave is your best football player, is your best player on this team. Fletcher Cox just got sacked against Carolina Panthers. Maybe he's hitting his stride. Maybe Josh Sweat is finally going mature into that role that we've all thought he could, and will earn that contract in this particular game. Maybe this will be the Josh Sweat breakout game, right? If you're ever going to do it, it would be when your defensive line is hitting a stride. Tom Brady's thumb on his throwing finger that he kind of needs is banged up. They're traveling on a short week for Thursday Night Football. If there's ever a time to play him, this was going to be it. Because, like, what? What do you need more film on Tom Brady? The guy's 44 years old. What's the joke? Like if you watch film on him in his early days, it's VHS. Like he's around that long. You don't need more film on Tom Brady. If you're going to need it, what the hell? He's 44 flipping years old. Anyway, That's a Morning Rush segment brought to you by Sky Motorcars and SkyMotorcars.com. I'll give you my prediction at the end of the interview here with Josh Miller. But Josh Miller of WinView was kind enough to jump on with us to explain all the great things that's coming up with the WinView app, including tonight's game against the Buccaneers. Coming up in a second, I'll give you my my prediction, my official prediction on this very optimistic show surrounding the Eagles and the Buccaneers. Also, a little bit later today, make sure you catch me on Fox. I'll be on Fox 29, 7:45 with Alex Holly and Mike Jarrett. Love hanging out with those guys. All right, without further ado, let's talk to a new friend of the show, Josh Miller of WinView. Ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to have a very special guest with us here to round out the Farzy show right before the Eagles and the Buccaneers kick off in Thursday Night Football in South Philadelphia. Welcome in Josh Miller, the marketing manager, the promo guru for WinView. You hear me talking about WinView all the time on this show. Josh, welcome in, my friend. How are you?
Thank you, Marc. Glad to be here.
I'm really honored. I'm so glad to have you. This is an incredible app that people can have a lot of fun with. It's not daily fantasy. It's not a sports book, but it is a way you can have a lot of fun. We talk about it on the show a lot as not just a way for someone to talk the talk, but walk the walk when it comes to their sports knowledge with you, your friends, and all that stuff. So how did WinView get started?
It's a really interesting story. WinView is the third iteration of this product. Man by the name Dave Lockton developed this concept back in the 70s and actually had they had a product in the 80s, 90s, similar product, in-game predictions, but there was a lot of hardware attached. People had to bring it to the ballpark, and eventually it phased out. Then he tried it again in the mid 2000s in the flip phone era. But the technology was still, it was a little bit lagging behind. And finally, once smartphones came around and the second screen experience became more of a reality, then came WinView, and now here we are.
That is amazing. I didn't even know that. That's incredible. Like you had to hook it up to your TV back in the day. Is that kind of how it worked?
Oh, people brought it to the ballpark and sat it on their lap and pressed buttons. It was pretty hysterical.
That's amazing. What I love about it, Josh, is that, we all play fantasy football nowadays and all that stuff. So I was kicking somebody's butt last week. The week before they were kicking my butt and somebody else in the league. And we just issued a challenge on WinView just to, make it a little bit more exciting on Sunday because I was already getting blown out, or my friend was getting blown out last week. So they just shot me a challenge on WinView, and that's kind of how we walk the walk aside from talking the talk.
And not only that, but you can make any game feel like the Super Bowl. Jets, Falcons, Jaguars, Texans. It doesn't matter who's playing. The game means something when they're playing WinView.
That you just made a lot of Jets fans really happy. It was like, what? We can have a Super Bowl season? This is amazing. Let's jump into it here because I want to show people what it looks like when you go into the app itself after you register and after you sign up. Here's what you got. So you got the Thursday night matchup. We got a slew of baseball stuff to get into. NBA's around the corner, hockey, all that stuff. So we got crazy stuff going on here. But here's what you got for Thursday night, obviously, with the two logos right there. But you can make your picks. You can scroll on, and once you enter that room, you can go ahead and enter these rooms here. $250 play action stuff. You got a $25 classic going on here. The $2 50-50 half wins, if you will. That's where I entered, and that takes you to this room right here, and that's where you can make some predictions pregame. You go on down, and you see some predictions. I made one right here saying that any player can have 2 sacks in this game. I'm going big on the Eagles defensive line. I think we're going to have a game here, Josh. They're going to have a game Thursday night. So I'm going big on the Eagles defensive line. Maybe Fletcher Cox. Maybe he gets 2 sacks. Maybe Javon Hargrave. Maybe he gets 2 sacks in this game. Maybe a lot of guys for those Tampa Bay Buccaneers defensive line. Maybe they get some sacks as well. But overall, you could go through all these different predictions. Zach Ertz, Antonio Brown combining to have 11 receptions in this game or more. You see the list right there. Really, the fun never stops here, Josh.
No, it's just that easy. For these pregame contests, you can do it on the go. You can do it when you got a quick break. It takes a few minutes. But if you're not for pregame and if you're watching the game, you could play along live. So there's something for everyone here. You can have a quick and easy experience with the pregame, or if you're watching, you can make your viewing experience that much better. And that annoying friend or that annoying uncle that always talks during games, you can shut him up with beating him at WinView.
Now, you're a guy and I'm not just saying this, but you're a phenomenally talented guy yourself. What drew you to WinView?
It's a good question. Another funny story. I got involved with WinView through a Craigslist ad, and the ad was "Get paid watching sports," and that's how it happened.
And you're like, all right, this is for me. So what drew you to it, as far as like aside from that, the obvious, right? But like, what drew you to the app? Like, what makes this app special?
Sure. Well, it really is an app where anyone can win, right? You know, you play DraftKings, you play FanDuel, you might play a couple contests to deposit some money, but it's hard to win those games. It's hard to beat the entire pool when you know some of those people are making hundreds and hundreds of entries and doing all kinds of research. With WinView is a game where even your grandma could beat you on any given night, right? If she's feeling it, if she's watching the game and sensing what's going on, she has a chance to win, and that's what makes WinView so special.
Now you guys have a lot more coming up, more than just football, baseball playoffs going on, NBA. What else do you guys have coming up?
We got all kinds of stuff going on. If you're a first-time user, we're actually going to double your deposit up to $100. So if you deposit 50, we're giving you 100. If you deposit 100, we're giving you 200. So it's a pretty good first-time offer. For the baseball playoffs, we got a great jackpot promotion going on. The jackpot is now north of $6,000, and it doesn't end until the end of the World Series. All you got to do is make 10 predictions, like we just saw in the Thursday Night Football game, and if you get them all right, you are in the money. So that's every MLB playoff game. You can play for the jackpot all the way until the end of the World Series. And then we got NBA coming up next week. I can't believe it's that soon, but we'll have all kinds of Sixer games for you. And, we get to see how that soap opera is going to unfold there in Philly.
Do you guys have any kind of, like, can I make a bet with somebody about Ben Simmons, how many games he plays over under? Can that happen?
Well, we'll get a trivia contest where that'll certainly be a question for sure.
Okay. All right. That's awesome. Josh Miller, thank you so much. Marketing guru, promotions guru as well at WinView. Thank you so much for coming on the Farzy Show, and thank you for being a sponsor of the Farzy Show. We love working with you guys. It's a phenomenal app. I've had a lot of fun with it. And like I said, 2 weeks ago when I was getting my butt kicked in fantasy, it was good to go right to WinView, man, and win some money.
That's right. It's the app that takes things to the next level. So thank you so much, Marc.
Thank you, Josh. Appreciate you coming on. Make sure you guys have some fun on the WinView app, just as I do. Thanks to Josh Miller for joining the show. Thanks to Jimmy Kempski joining the show earlier in the program. Also, my thanks to Jim Heiden, who produced the program. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, everybody. My official Eagles prediction with the Buccaneers: Bucs 33, Eagles 17. Once again, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Be back with you guys tomorrow, hopefully talking about an Eagles upset over Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Go Birds.